Okay, I'll make a start. I think there's still some people in the waiting room, but good morning, everybody. Joined us this morning. Thank you very much for joining us on our Year 3 virtual coffee morning. Hopefully, you can see the screen, and on screen are the faces of 4 people who are. Oops, oh yeah, there you go. 4 people who are going to be speaking to you today and are very important in the primary school. Top left, you can see me. My name's Ian Clayton. I'm Deputy Head of FIS and Head of the International Stream. Below me is Mr. Ross Armitage, who's Head of the Primary School, the International Stream. And then to the right, top is Jane Waitman, who's Deputy Head of the International Stream, and Melissa Payne, who's also Deputy Head of the International Stream. Welcome again. As I said, it's great for you all to be here. As Ross has just put in the chat function, if you do have any questions, please don't be afraid to ask. We will be happy to answer any of your questions, any of your concerns. We do understand how important it is to get the choices for your education for your children right. So please, any question that you feel is relevant, then please ask. We will go through a presentation this morning. Hopefully we'll cover a lot of questions and concerns and issues that you may have. But as I say, if there are any others, then please don't be afraid to put them in the chat function. Okay, Melissa, next slide, please. Okay, I'm just going to give you a kind of brief overview of why we feel it's a good choice for you to send your children to us at FIS. We understand that it's a massive decision sending your children to school, and we are grateful that you're thinking and trusting us with your children's education. We've identified here 10 things, 10 quick reasons why we think it's great to choose FIS and the International Stream. The first thing is that we've been here for a long time. The school itself is approaching its 60th birthday. And in terms of the International Stream, we're about 30 years old. We were the first school in Hong Kong to offer the International Baccalaureate syllabus and curriculum, and we're proud of that longevity, and I think that's very important. The second thing is we have a unique and coherent curriculum. You're going to hear much more about the curriculum very soon, but basically we have a coherent curriculum that takes children from nursery, which is aged around 3, all the way up to age 18. And we have lots of acronyms, but we have the International Early Years Curriculum, we have the International Primary Curriculum, we have the International Middle Years Curriculum, we have IGCSE and IB, and they're reserved for obviously the oldest students. The third thing, which is probably the most important thing, is that we have caring and committed teachers. Our teachers stay with us for a long time. We have very low turnover in terms of staff renewal. Our teachers stay here a long time. They are absolutely caring and committed to the education of the children that are in front of them. They are well trained, they are happy, and because they are well trained and happy, they project that to the students. And I think my colleagues who follow me when they speak will talk about how happy our students and children are to be at school. Point 4, it's a long way away. We're talking about Year 3. It seems like a long way away. If you stay with us all the way through to Year 13, so that would be 10 years of education at FIS, then our students are university ready. And that starts right from the word go. As I said, it seems like a long way away, 10 years, but that's kind of what we're aiming for. And we're very proud of our record in terms of the types of university, but not just that. We're proud of the kinds of courses that our students do. And more important than that, what they do after they go to university. They become valuable members of society who do things that really matter. And clearly, we're very proud of that. We're an all-through school. As I mentioned, we go from age 3, nursery, all the way up to age 18. It's an all-through school, which means that we're able to deliver the curriculum, or we're able to deliver our welfare and our pastoral care for children from 3 to 18. Number 6, we are multicultural and multilingual. We have around 40 or 40 plus nationalities within the school. If children stay with us for a long period of time, they end up pretty much totally bilingual English-French. They also have access to Mandarin and to Spanish. So we do have students who leave us who are multilingual. They can be perfectly understood in English. Point 7, which is, I think, as important as point 2, is student well-being is crucial for us. We make sure that our students are happy, we make sure that they're looked after, and I think the thing which marks us out as being very different, and from all the schools that I've had an association with, is our students are happy to come to school, and they talk in glowing terms about their experience at school. So we're very, very proud of that, and we do measure that. It's not just anecdotal. We measure how happy our students are, and we measure the job that we've been doing with them in terms of well-being. Point 8, academic excellence. Our students achieve very, very well, and that's important, of course. But I guess what we mean by academic excellence is for students to reach their potential, getting the best out of each student, and putting them on a journey, which means, as I said before, that they're going to be valuable members of society. So yes, our results are excellent, but results are only a small part of what schools do. And we make sure that they are well-rounded, and we provide for them a holistic education. Number 9, modern approaches. We're always trying to innovate. We're always trying to be creative. We're always trying to find new ways, better ways, fresh ways to approach education, to approach the way the students learn. And that's, you will see that clearly when my colleagues talk about the kind of curriculum and the curricular approaches that we adopt in both primary and secondary school. So we have modern, fresh, innovative approaches. And finally, this is a myth that we have to bust every time we speak. You don't have to be French. You don't have to have any background in French. You don't have to have any background in the French language. Whatever level you have in French, we will cater for you. So just a very brief overview of what you would be committing to and what we commit to in terms of the way that we will deal with your children. So thank you very much for being here. I will stay on the call for a little longer, and if there are any questions, as I said, please ask. But at this point, I'm going to hand over to Mr. Armitage, Mr. Ross Armitage, who's head of primary. Thanks, Ross.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you so much. Welcome, parents, to this virtual coffee morning. I've got my coffee with me. Can you give us a shout out, a thumbs up if you're okay, or a smiley face in the chat function? It's great to have you here today to talk about our school and your children joining us. It's fantastic. Give us a smiley face in the chat function or a thumbs up if you're okay and you can hear us really well. If you've got any questions, don't hesitate to put them in the chat function. But we've tried really hard to put all your questions into this presentation that we received prior to this meeting. This meeting is all about you and your children, and our quest to make sure they are confident, independent learners who reach their true potential and are responsible global citizens. Thank you, Melissa. So we realised that it's quite a big step to join a new school. So these are the ways we're going to help you and your children on their journey to FIS. When you start, you'll have a meet and greet meeting with your new class teacher, who will talk to you about your child and their needs and aspirations, both emotionally and academically. We also have year group parents who coordinate between school and home with trips and activities, and are a bridge between home and school. When all our children start, we have lots of new children starting, and we always give them a buddy to ensure they can make friends quickly. We use things like buddy system, circle of friends, to help to guide them around our school and our setting and our routines, and help them to build friendships, because that's really important. The emotional aspect of learning is really important, and children need to be happy to learn. So that's very, very important, and we put that first. Happiness comes first, and learning will come. You'll be invited to the Milepost 2 parent meeting. Milepost 2 is years 3 and year 4. And this is an opportunity to learn more about our curriculum. We endeavour to help all parents to understand our school system and curriculum as much as we can. And we're really passionate about our curriculum. We love it, IPC. So we shine and share as much as we can. We give you parent handbooks for each milepost. We share with you the annual overview so you're crystal clear about the learning in year 3 and year 4. And we answer any questions, all questions that parents ask. We try to put into our milepost meetings and into our handbooks to equip you to make the transition as smooth and as easy as possible. Our teachers are always available within working hours, I have to say, and you will have their direct email address so that you can contact the class teacher and check how your child is settling into the school context. We have a real open door policy and parents are actively welcome at our school. Normally in the IC we have
Hello everyone,
comes out information at the same time. And then in November, we will have teacher meets, and these are an opportunity to meet with your teachers of your class and to talk about your child's progress, both academically and socially. And you'll be given a time slot. Obviously, that's normally in person, but during distance learning, we've maintained those via Google Meets, and we've actually found that works well, because in the past, usually only one parent could come because we know that most of our parents are working. However, because it's on Google Meet, it means parents can take a bit of time out of their workday to attend, and both parents. So we're going to maintain that option moving forward. We also inform teachers, parents about our curriculum in real time on Twitter, so you can follow us and see what's happening in our school day to day. And we feel that's really important. Again, as most of our parents are working, it just helps to give you an insight into our curriculum and what's happening and the positivity of the school environment. So hopefully that enlightens you about our onboarding process into IF Primary. And helps you to understand that we're here to help you. We're on your side, and we see the partnership with Parents at Home as a real strong function at our school. We're very open door policy, and we welcome parents into our school. We realise it's a big step, so we put a lot of systems in place to support the children and you as parents into this first step into FIS. Thank you, Melissa. So learning in our school is always fun. Our children attain at high academic levels in all subjects compared to other international and UK schools. And we teach the British curriculum that's been modified and developed for international children to make it relevant and useful for them in their life. And with that in mind, we have a lot of icons and emojis to help the children to understand our curriculum. And here you can see this strange fluffy toy called Earthy. And Earthy is our mascot for international mindedness. And parents, that is so important right now, that children understand themselves, the local culture and the worldwide culture, and again, understanding. Our code of conduct is uniform across all of our primary campuses, whether it's TKO or JL. Another important point there is that our primary is consistent across both campuses. So the experience and the curriculum is exactly the same. The leadership is across all campuses and the teachers collaborate and plan across campuses. The code of conduct is for our French students and our international primary students, and it was developed by our staff and students. and it has the following concepts that we revisit in our classrooms and in our lessons and in our assemblies. And they are respect, cooperation, self-evaluation, engagement, and organisation. And those things help us to be confident, independent learners who reach our full potential and become excellent global citizens. I have to say that this is my 8th school, and the children at FAS are so welcoming and passionate about their learning. It's a joy to work with them, and they love welcoming new students to our school. Thank you, Melissa. So we are passionate about learning at our school. It's the core of what we're trying to do, making our students happy and smiley and making them learn to reach their full potential. As Ian mentioned, we are an IPC accredited school to mastering level, so that there is real depth in our curriculum that's based on the British curriculum objectives. And at our school, learning is a lifelong process where we acquire knowledge, develop skills, and make connections to form understanding to the world and our place within it. And that is really, really important, parents, our definition of learning. At this stage, I'm going to hand over to the lovely Jane Wakeman, who's going to continue to explain some of those concepts a little bit more closely for you. Thank you, Jane.
Hi, my name's Jane. I've been at the school before any of the other management tell you this for quite a long time. So I've been at FAS for 2 decades and a bit, and both my children have been through our school. So, and I have taught year 3 too a few years ago. But anyway, I'm here to talk about how we learn. At FIS, as Ross has already told you, we have lots of little emojis to help the children learn. But one of the things that's really core to our curriculum is that the children understand that we learn in different ways and we learn different things. So we have knowledge that we want the children to learn. We have skills, the practical side of learning, how they're learning and developing, and then the connection between the knowledge they've learned, the skills they're doing, and how that impacts in their daily lives and the world in which they live in. So as you can see, we've got 3 little characters. We have Elgin the elephant, who is all about knowledge. We have Becky the beaver, who is very skillful. And then we have Jimbaya the giraffe, who, because he's very tall, can oversee everything that the children learn. These 3 ways of learning are in every single lesson that we deliver to the children. We identify the knowledge they're learning, we identify the skills they are practicing, and then we talk through that understanding of how they make the connections between the knowledge they've learned and the skills they're developing. If we could move on, please. So, as said earlier, we do follow the UK curriculum for maths and English. For maths, we use the abacus scheme, which is a spiral approach, which means that each term the children will visit every strand of the maths curriculum, and then they will revisit it again in term 2 and again in year 3, so that they can build and consolidate upon their knowledge. We also use My Maths as well, which is an online program, which we have been using during distance learning to support the children's learning after they've done their meets with their teachers. For English, we follow the Wordsmith curriculum, which is a fantastic opportunity for children to delve into different types of books that perhaps they wouldn't necessarily choose, and to look at all the language, the way they are written, all about the grammar, spelling, vocabulary. We have a reading scheme too, which is called Project X, where the children have, and they read each week in a small group where they go through reading skills to look for inference, deduction, and that general comprehension of the text they've been looking at. We also have an online program called Bug Club, which deals with our phonics, deals with reading, it deals with vocabulary. And as you can see, we use knowledge, skills and understanding in both maths and English delivery of the curriculum. Both of those are used during our online learning as well. They are an online learning platform, so it means that we have the consistency whether the children are face-to-face with us or online. Melissa? Is Melissa there? I think.
Can you see the next slide, Miss Wakeman?
I can't. I'm still looking at our little man with his KSU on his shirt, but that's okay. I can carry on.
Yeah, on my screen, it's changed. So
okay. We are there. We are there. As ever, technology is a wonderful thing when it works. So as I mentioned, we do follow the international primary curriculum, and this is phenomenal curriculum. It's where the kids get really excited about their learning. They are enabled to research what they are interested in, but it incorporates all the other subjects that we have at school that we remember: the geography, the science, the music. So we start off these units of work with an entry point. This is that wow moment where we normally would take the children on a trip or get people in, but at the moment online we are still finding, as our teachers are ever resourceful, ways of exciting the children about the unit they're going to look at. So they have this entry point. That's where we get them really engaged and excited to find out more about that particular aspect of the curriculum. We then spend time talking to the children about what they already know, because that's important for us to know what the children know in order to be able to move them on if they're learning. So we call this the knowledge harvest. So we find out exactly all the bits of information they know about a subject. Some may not always be correct, but it's a good starting point for us to know what they have, and also about what their interests, what they'd like to learn more of within that subject. We then go into exploring the theme. And this means that we look at all different aspects of the curriculum. We'll involve geography, science, music, PE. These are all independent subjects, but they connect through these units. So we make the connections about why we do geography and how that could relate to history. And we do research with each of these activities. They record and then they reflect. And that's where our understanding comes in, where they are actually looking at what they've learnt and they're reflecting upon it about how that impacts their lives and how they could move on. So we can see on the screen, hopefully you can see, these are some examples that Year 3 currently do. Their firm favourite, without a doubt, is possibly the chocolate unit at the moment, where they learn about where chocolate comes from. They learn about the history behind chocolate, how it makes it fair trade, which is where our international mindedness comes through. And most importantly, they get to make chocolate and enjoy it. Like we've said, we want to make the curriculum fun, and they do enjoy it. And all this, all their learning comes together in an exit point. And this is where you as parents, every 6 weeks, could be slightly less, could be more, we invite you in to come and see what the children have been learning. So we've had little restaurants run, we've had presentations done, we've had a Netflix TV program because we've been online. So this is where you get to come in and see and listen and engage with your child about their learning. So it is an amazing curriculum. We love it, our staff love it, they get very excited, and so do the children. Anybody who'd like to add anything about IPC? Because I love it, but...
We just all love it. I mean, that's why we're passionate about the curriculum, and that's what's so important, that the curriculum has to engage the children. If it does not bring their learning to life in a context that's relevant to them, what's the value? The value is the joy and the relevance to their life and their learning, and to make sure they can be those confident, independent learners. We are totally passionate about the curriculum. And of course, as an accredited school, other schools come to us to take all our ideas, and we're happy to share them with other schools.
And it is lovely, isn't it, Ross, to hear the kids actually talk to each other and give each other feedback, and Melissa the same. It's great that the kids engage in these conversations about their learning and what they'd like to be able to do, but maybe don't have the skill set for, so they can help each other engage in each other's learning.
I think the beautiful thing is, Jane, is that those conversations continue at home. And it's what's really interesting is that for us as students from the past, where school was very, very old-fashioned type learning, that we didn't really come home and talk about school. Our students go home and consistently talk about their learning because they're so engaged in it, asking questions, getting you involved. You know, our parents cannot believe how engaged the children are. It's always a consistent theme that they're so engaged in their learning, and that permeates home with grandparents, aunties, uncles, and siblings. So it's a really well-rounded approach.
And this
Thanks,
is
Jane.
a real opportunity as parents to be involved, because for each of the units, we send home a letter before we start it to find out if we have anybody in our community that could actually help and be a real life expert in this unit of study. So it's a great opportunity for you as parents to be fully engaged in with your children's learning. And it also saves Melissa and Rob dressing up as wizards and other strange creatures to engage with the children.
We had a lovely moment where a granddad came in to talk to our early years children about the MTR, because our children were fascinated about traveling on the MTR. But he spoke to him about his work and they were absolutely enthralled. We've had pilots, doctors, nurses, you name it. So it's a really community engaging curriculum. Next slide, I think, Melissa.
Would you like me to carry on, or yourself? Anybody else?
Oh, please, you're doing it so well.
Do you want me to talk about personal goals, Miss Wakeman?
Oh, go on. If you give me a rest for a few minutes.
Absolutely. So part of the IPC curriculum is the personal goals. Sorry, I should introduce myself, shouldn't I? I am Melissa. I'm one of the deputy heads. So I work very closely with Jane and Ross. And I am based mainly at the TKO campus. But I'm going to be talking to you today as well. So it's nice to meet you all. Our personal goals are an amazing way for our children to connect with everything about life that's not just about the learning and not just about the academic side of education. So we have personal goals that they're threaded through the IPC. And they're threaded through everywhere else as well. So you will hear about the personal goals as families all the time. I had a parent come up to me last week and say that they'd taken their daughter rock climbing and that they had she didn't want to climb the wall, and then they'd said, well, you remember you should be resilient. You learned at school about being resilient, and she took that and climbed all the way up to the top of the wall, and the family came back to share it with us because it was a really nice moment that it showed that the personal goals go beyond the classroom. So we have 8 of these personal goals. As you can see here, we are collaborators, we are adaptable, we are empathetic, we are thinkers, we are resilient, we are respectful. And you can see we've got some absolutely fantastic imagery that represent these personal goals. These have been designed by our children. So we ran a little competition at the start of the year, and the children got to design of
I think this might be stuck. We have to be more.
We may have lost Melissa.
Yeah, we'll be resilient. We'll carry on.
We'll carry on.
We love the personal goals, don't we, Miss Wakeman? They're just so important.
Love them because they're part of making the children think about the people that we want to become. So we lost you, Melissa. Do you want to carry on?
Oh, am I back? Goodness me, the technology today. I was just talking to myself then, and I did a really great explanation, everybody. So you're going to have to bear with me while I repeat it. Where did I get up to?
The children had designed these, had a competition, and they came up as a whole school across both campuses, voted, and these were the winning emojis that they've created.
They did.
Last year.
So great. Okay, so you got most of my speech. So yes, and the children really take to these and they use them as part of their lessons. So when we are teaching, whether it's maths, whether it's IPC, whether it's English, the children are given targets or focuses to be able to think about, okay, this lesson, we really need to be effective communicators because we're going to be working in a group. We need to be able to talk to each other, or we need to be effective collaborators because we're doing a project and you have to decide in your team who's going to do what. So the personal goals run all the way through the school, and as I mentioned earlier about our little story with our families, they also run at home. The personal goals are not just for the children, they are for everybody in our school community, and they are what we use to support our development over time. We then have a very special arm of the IPC, with it being an international curriculum and us being an international school. We really focus on being internationally minded. Our children, as you can see, these are some of the most amazing units that the children do. So we've got Brainwave, where they were dissecting jelly brains as part of an entry point. The Bake It unit was absolutely fabulous. We had all of the families come in and had restaurant style seating, and the children baked for the different families that came in. And you can see in Chocotopia, they were cooking and they had different restaurants to share all their food. And we had Waterworld. So there's so many things that are going on all the time with IPC. But one of the biggest things that we try and incorporate with every unit is to be internationally minded. And that goes beyond being an international setting. It goes beyond being a multicultural school, even though we are both of those things. It's all about us taking action and agency in the world around us, and also being culturally aware of who we are and who the other people around us are. So for example, we in different year groups, we may have families come in and celebrate different festivals with us. So we have parents come in and talk about their culture at home, talk about what festivals they might celebrate, and share those experiences with the children. We may also have readers come in who may read in their mother tongue to the children, and celebrate the fact that the children, you know, everybody's mother tongue or home languages might be different in our setting. We also then do lots of action and agency, so where the children are encouraged and involved in making the world a better place. So we recently did Box of Hope, where all the children were able to share their experiences, and obviously brought in lots of things to donate for families and for children who were less fortunate. We do lots of other things as well, like we do, are you still with me, Mr. Armitage and Miss Wakeman? You've frozen, so I don't know if it's me or you.
I can hear you. I think it may be you, I'm not sure. Ross looks a little bit frozen.
You can still hear me?
Yes.
Next slide now. Let's go back to French.
Can't hear him then.
I'll do that. Can you hear me?
Okay. You can hear me. Great. Goodness me, everybody. Thank you for being so patient. But yes, our children take action and agency in lots of things. So they are able to experience we do beach cleanups. We've had people come in and do talks about conservation. We plant, we have our own gardens, so we do planting. And so yes, we are very internationally minded that goes beyond the classroom.
We'll be getting fit soon in our fitness challenge.
Oh, we will be getting fit in our fitness challenge.
Wake and shake. So French is a big part of our curriculum, but obviously it's not the expectation that your children have any French knowledge. It is a bonus to the curriculum. So that's why it's not part of the assessment procedure. If your child has no French or some French, that's no problem. And there's no expectation for you as parents to do anything. It's our job to help the children. And we've got a really experienced French language team at both campuses who are happy and willing and skilled to help your children, whether they're confident, middling, or have no French whatsoever, just like me. I'm learning too. So when the children arrive into our school, the French staff will assess all children. They won't feel like it's an assessment, it's more activities. We don't put the children through lots of formalized testing procedures. We do sometimes, but not all the time. But they'll assess where the children are, and then they will assign the children to an appropriate group and teacher their level of French. And those groups will provide support, whether they're native speakers or non-French speakers. They'll be in small groups.
Lost you. We've lost you, Ross.
Jane, do you want to jump in?
Right. I'm not quite sure where we got to, so excuse me if I do repeat something that Ross has previously said. This has got really weird feedback. So the children don't actually have to have French knowledge before starting with us. As Ross briefly said, the children are assessed when they come in. But for year 3, the children have 4 sessions of French a week. It will be related to the IPC where possible, but these are what we call the standalone French lessons. They also have a few sessions a week where they're co-teaching, where the French teacher will join the class teacher as part of their IPC unit to develop the vocabulary and make French become real. It's not just a standalone subject. They also do what we call a shared project session with the French counterparts, so the children who are the same age as our year 3. They join together from their house groups and they engage in activities around a theme that's been decided by that team. So last term we did arts and creativity. We had a group doing drama, a group doing yoga, they did photography. So it's a moment where the children get to spend time with each other in a very natural environment, and they get to know the French teachers as well as their children their same age. So I know that Ross said the children are assessed already, and then they're put into mixed ability groups. We do have one native group to be either native speaker or very confident, but then the rest of the children are split. There's around about 12 children per class, so they're very small classes. And any child that arrives who has no French will be offered some sessions after school to help them feel more confident when they're in their French lessons in class. And they're designed around practical games, activities to try and bridge the gap between them and the other children. And they do really enjoy it because they're small groups and they get to form really great friendships through these sessions as well. And as the children move up in years 4 and year 6, they have the ability to take what we call the DELF exam, which is recognised world round, and that will give your child's French a level. And they all do extremely well in it. They get to speak and role play. There's some written, there's some listening. But it's a great opportunity for the children to learn a different language from what they speak at home. Sorry, Ross, we lost you. Can you hear me?
Bonjour, madame, ça va?
Ça va bien, merci, et vous? Oh, wow, I've learned some. I can't hear you again, Ross.
Can you hear
No. No. Would you like me to continue?
me?
Right, I'll carry on, Melissa. I can see you're moving. Right, so also, besides French, the children have the opportunity to continue with Chinese studies and the development of their language as well. This, obviously, the children have a session a week. As you can see on the screen, there's this little picture of how we work it in year 3 at the moment. And that is, we have a teacher who's principally in charge of Chinese studies. She also has 2 assistants who work alongside her. So she will go into the classroom, there's 25 children, that she will give the main input for that lesson. And then the children within the classroom, and some will move outside, then get split into 3 groups where the work is differentiated for that particular group. And then they will come back together at the end with the main teacher. We know for some of you that perhaps you would like more Chinese studies, but unfortunately with our crammed curriculum, we don't have any more time at the moment to be able to give additional lessons. And this is where we know and we recognise that for some parents this is important. So we do have a great ECA for the children to do, where they can do an additional 2 hours a week with an experienced supplier, and the kids have great fun in it. Okay, on screen is an example of one of our current year 3 classes schedule. I know some of you have asked about class sizes. We've got 26 children in year 3 at JL and TKO per class. They have a shared assistant in the classroom as well. As you can see, they do around 4 sessions of both maths and English a week. They have their 4 French. They have a separate PE lesson. They have a swimming lesson, which runs all year round because we do have an indoor pool. They have a library session where they go spend time in the library with our librarian. They have their IPC sessions, ICT, where the ICT teacher comes into their classroom and teaches them. So they have this action-packed literal week. And we do hope, the motto and quote at the bottom, today was good, today was fun, tomorrow is another one. It is firmly what we believe. The children do go home Melissa, Ross and I are on the gates every morning to meet the children. And when they go home at the end of the day, and it's one of those moments where you get to talk to the children about their day. And when you say to them, have you had a good day today? They're like, yeah. And then they can tell you why. And for us, it really makes us feel like we're doing the best for your children and they are having a great day. And when you ask the teachers, you get that same information back too. They also have great fun delivering the curriculum and spending time with your children. So you can see year 3, they have a 30-minute break in the morning. They have an hour for lunch. And then the reason we don't have the afternoon break for the year 3s is because they have a later lunch. If they require a little brain refresh, we do take them outside for 5 or 10 minutes or do a brain break. But they do have a full-on action-packed day. And it's lovely when you have the opportunity to go and to see them whilst they're doing all this learning. Anything, Melissa? Oh, no, right.
I'm going to try and talk. It keeps telling my internet's unstable, which is okay. But this is just a snapshot of some of our amazing facilities. We do have 2 campuses, but we are one school, and I think that's really important. It's a motto that we live by, and you know, as Ross mentioned earlier in the call, we share everything as the 2 campuses. So we share our resources, so it might be that we send different resources across the campuses. We share our specialists, so we have specialists that work at Jardines, specialists that work at TKO, and so we're constantly moving around. Both myself and Jane will spend time at different campuses, as will Ross, and then we also have the opportunity to have all these amazing facilities that the children have access to within their own campus. So as you can see, we've got creative art studios, we've got amazing outdoor playgrounds, we've got music areas, we've got large gymnasiums. We're looking at both campuses. We have swimming pools and dedicated libraries. So there's plenty of facilities for the children outside their classroom to engage in a really well-rounded curriculum.
And also to add, we do have events where we try and get the children together from both campuses as well during our inter-house events. TKO hosted our, what do we call it? The sponsored run. Can't remember what we called it, but anyway, we had a sponsored run.
Sunbeam.
Sorry?
Sunbeam.
Yeah, the Sunbeam sponsored run where we dressed up as the Grinches because it was Christmas time. So we do try and come up with innovative ideas to enable both campuses to join together. So when we say we are one school, we truly do mean that and do our best to ensure that the children do collaborate, not just within their own campuses and classrooms, but across the campuses too.
And that goes for the teachers as well. So, you know, the staff spend a lot of time designing the curriculum and support materials that goes across campuses as well to ensure that there's consistency within the children's learning, regardless of which campus that they are at.
Our staff do enjoy it. They've all just done a recent training course online, and they've really enjoyed that opportunity again to be with each other. So all of our training that we do is across both campuses for staff. We have whole staff meetings. So we really generally are one school, but we just have 2 campuses.
And so we did have a look at some of your questions. And so we're hoping that with some of these, we can answer them. And we do have an amazing and engaging curriculum. And as Ross has said, it is based on the national curriculum. And for new joiners, teachers will meet with the new students and families. So that's not something to worry about. There's going to be definitely a handover time where you'll be able to coordinate with your class teacher to understand what needs to be ready. We have a student buddy system, as Mr. Armitage said, so we do make sure that the children do have lots of opportunities to mingle and engage and get to know new friends. And in terms of starting and joining a school in the year 3 year group, we do take a lot of time to make sure that we complete baseline assessments. And this is done at the start of the year for every child, because obviously we don't see them during the summer months. And these might be in reading and writing, maths. And what it will do is just give us an idea of where your child is up to. and what support they will need to access the curriculum. So we make sure that all children do that, and then we're able to tailor our curriculum and tailor our teaching to support your children's needs. We have lots of facilities, as you've seen, and we have on-site health assistant teams at both campuses. So we have an infirmary, so any sickness or injuries or anything like that, we have dedicated health team on site to support with that, and 24-hour security at our campuses. We have specialist teachers, as we've mentioned, for PE, music, ICT, and they go to the library with our librarian, Mandarin and French. We have all of our teachers are well trained and experienced, and we're very, very lucky to have teaching assistants that work across the school as well to provide that additional support in learning. And that as we've mentioned, primary leaders and teachers all connect across our campuses. We don't expect you to be able to speak French. I know that's been said a couple of times. It is something that we support with. And the teachers, our dedicated French team, are absolutely fantastic, and they will support parents and families and children in their beginning journeys of their French education as well, so their French language. And then I think we're going to go on to ECAs. Okay, so ECAs at Jardines. So ECAs are our extracurricular activities. So we do have lots of opportunities for children to engage in different activities during the school day. And then these are the opportunities for after the school day has ended. So they run for an hour usually after the school day is finished. And as you can see, they are available 4 times a week, with buses available 3 times a week. And so if your child does take the bus on a normal school day, on an ECA day, they can continue to take the bus 3 times a week as well, if you are registered onto an ECA. Registration is every semester. So in our terms, we have 3 terms in our academic year, but in our ECA calendar, we have 2 terms. So you register in September, or at the end, just before the start of the school year, you can register for the new ECAs. And then in January, you get to then choose if you want to register to continue on those ECAs, or if you want to choose a new ECA. And it's all done online, and we have a dedicated ECA team to support you with that process. And as you can see there, the average price, obviously it ranges slightly, but we have an average costing of $2,600 per term. And then we also review the offer each term. So for example, at the moment we have netball, or we had netball in term 1, because a lot of the netball team games and things like that would have been operating. We might then switch that netball in term 2 for a different sport that maybe where the team games around Hong Kong would be operating at that time. So it just depends on what offers we've got at the time, but there's lots and lots of different things that you can sign up for ECA. We have yoga, sports, art classes, language classes. There's plenty to do as part of our extracurriculars.
Just not enough time.
Just yeah, absolutely. You'll want to sign up to them all. Oh yes, so here we go. Here's just an example of what we offer. So you can see, yeah, everything from chess club to guitar to reading to Mandarin to drama. So we try and make sure we've got a real extensive opportunity for the children. You know, we want to foster all children's individual interests as well. So the ECA team work really hard to make sure that there's a real balance of opportunities for our children outside of the school day as well. Oh, and it keeps going. We've got so many opportunities.
Moving on, Melissa. Let's get to the questions now. Can you hear me, everybody? Can you hear me? Oh, great. Brilliant.
I can hear you now.
I can hear you. It's frozen on screen.
That's okay. Well, we've got some questions in the chat function. And just to reassure parents, we have lots of outdoor playgrounds at JL Campus. And JL Campus is under a renovation program, which is really exciting. So last summer, it's all done in the summer holidays, not in term time. our year 4, 5 and 6 classrooms were renovated. They look absolutely amazing. Year 3, 2 and 1 will be done this summer. So all our year 3 classrooms will have brand new furniture. Can you still hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can. Great. For Mandarin, if you want more Mandarin as part of the curriculum, then the ECAs are on offer from an external provider. Yes, not all of our parents want extra Mandarin, so we've tried to facilitate that as an ECA, but we've also got 2 teachers and teacher assistants per lesson to differentiate the Mandarin lessons. And then for French, the children are split into groups within their year group. So for example, year 3 will have 3 classes, so they'll be split with across year 3 according to their ability to help them in their progress in French language. And those groups are not static, they would change if their ability changes, of course, but they'll be across the year 3, so they'll be with their peers. And we actively encourage that the year 3 classes interact, particularly as part of the IPC. Just to let you know that with this redesign of the campus, we're having brand new furniture for year 3, year 2 and year 1, which is really exciting. And also the library is being refurbished. So there's some really exciting things for the children as well as the canteens. We provide Chromebooks. They are for use in the classroom. We have obviously got a lot of experience with distance learning, and we use the Google platform. We've not experienced many difficulties, but I believe this week in Hong Kong, there's been a few issues locally with the internet providers, so maybe that's caused a few problems today. But during the online period has been prolonged in Hong Kong, as parents you know, the Google platform has worked really well and been very stable. We have asked you again to follow our Twitter to give you real-time updates to help you on your onboarding journey. And just finally, are there any final questions before we let you go? Great. Well, it was great to meet you all this morning virtually. We've got some students as well on the screen, which is great. I can see on Cassidy's screen. We're going to give you a little wave. Hopefully you've seen some pictures about your new school. So we're here to help you. If you have any further questions that you think of during the course of today, do not hesitate to pose them to the admissions team, and they will just post them on to us, and we'll be very happy to answer them to ensure you feel comfortable about coming to your new school. So thank you to Jane, thank you to Melissa, thank you to the admissions team, thank you to Ian, thank you to the tech team, and most importantly, thank you to you, all of you, for your time this morning. It's been great to see you virtually. Just before I leave, anything final from Ian or admissions?
Just very, very quickly to again say thank you very much on behalf of FIS. And I think the final thing for me anyway is in these difficult times with all the things that are happening in Hong Kong and indeed around the world, one of the things that marks us out as being different and maybe excellent is that we are expanding our classes at the moment. We're expanding in primary and we're expanding in secondary. So we are a very popular choice for parents at the moment. So we look forward to working with your sons and daughters, your children, and hopefully we'll see you all in person, which is way better very, very soon. So thank you for your attention. Have a great day and a great weekend when it comes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.